Hello. Welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy Samantha by Lacey Julius.
The sun streamed through my curtains, casting a soft glow over my pink bedroom walls. I yawned, stretching under my blankets, feeling warm and content. There was no hesitation when I got out of bed and walked to my closet. No second thoughts. No doubts. Without even thinking about it, I grabbed one of my new girl's uniforms, a neatly pressed blouse, a pleated skirt, and my matching blazer. I slipped on my panties and tights, buttoned up my shirt, and stepped into my skirt with ease. The first time I had worn it, I had been nervous, self-conscious, hyper-aware of how the fabric swished around my legs. But now, it felt normal. Like it had always belonged there. I looked at myself in the mirror, my pleated skirt falling perfectly in place, my new bangs framing my face. For the first time since this all started, I didn't feel like I was playing dress-up. I was Samantha. And I didn't even have to think about it anymore. I walked through the school gates, my bag slung over my shoulder, my pleated skirt swaying gently as I moved. And just like yesterday, everyone stared. It wasn't shock anymore, not like the first time. Now, it was something else. I could feel the whispers around me, hear the hushed conversations as I passed by. My mom says we're supposed to stay away from him. Her, I don't even know. She's living wrong. A boy can't just turn into a girl. I heard her mom just wanted another daughter. That's why she made him do it. My stomach twisted, my hands gripping my bag straps tightly. None of it was true. Mom hadn't forced me into this. I had made this choice. I had chosen to be Samantha. So why did it still hurt to hear them say otherwise? I kept walking, my head held high, even as my heart pounded in my chest. I had known this wouldn't be easy. But I didn't think it would feel so lonely. I kept walking, forcing myself not to react as the whispers grew louder around me. Everywhere I turned, it felt like someone was talking about me. How is she even allowed to wear the girl's uniform? She shouldn't be. It's against the rules. If the school lets this happen, what's next? Are boys gonna start wearing skirts too? Is this contagious? That last one made my stomach drop. Like I was some kind of disease. Like being Samantha was something people could catch. I gritted my teeth and kept walking, even though my hands were shaking. I had known people would talk. I just didn't think it would feel so cruel. When I finally reached the classroom door, my heart was pounding. I just wanted to sit down, focus on class, and forget about all of this. But the second I stepped inside, I felt it all over again. The stares. The silence. Like I didn't belong here anymore, like I wasn't one of them. I swallowed hard, gripping my bag tighter. I had come so far. I had fought to be Samantha. I wasn't going to back down now. Even if it hurt. As I sat down at my desk, I could still feel the stares. The whispers didn't stop, if anything, they felt louder now that I was in the classroom. I kept my head down, trying to focus as Mr. Caldwell began the lesson. But then, Mr. Caldwell? A boy sitting next to me, Daniel, raised his hand. His voice was casual, but I could hear the disgust underneath it. "Can I move seats?" he asked, pointing toward the other side of the room. "I don't want to sit next to whatever that is." A few students snickered under their breath. My face flushed, and my stomach twisted painfully. Daniel didn't even see me as a person. I gripped my skirt, feeling my hands shake. But before I could say anything, slam! A loud bang echoed through the room as Mr. Caldwell slammed his book onto his desk. The entire class went silent. I jumped, my heart pounding as I looked up. Mr. Caldwell's expression was stone cold. His eyes scanned the room, lingering on Daniel, who suddenly looked very uncomfortable. "No one is moving seats," Mr. Caldwell said, his voice low and sharp. "And if I hear one more comment like that, you'll be spending the next week in detention." Daniel shrunk back, his face turning red. No one else said a word. Mr. Caldwell's gaze flicked toward me for half a second, not pitying, not overly soft, just a quick glance to make sure I was okay. Then, he turned back to the board and continued teaching. Just like that, the moment passed. But I wasn't going to forget it. Mr. Caldwell had stood up for me again. And even though the words still stung, I wasn't going to let them break me. Even though Mr. Caldwell had shut down the worst of it, I could still hear the whispers around the classroom. They were quieter now, but they were still there. Why is he even here? The teacher's just protecting him because he feels sorry for him. This is so weird. Why are we pretending he's a girl? I clenched my fists under my desk, staring at my notebook and trying to block them out. By the time recess rolled around, I was more than relieved to get out of there. I walked toward the playground, half expecting Shelby to come find me, she always seemed to know when I needed her. But before I could even look for her, a voice called out. "Samantha!" I stiffened. I turned to see Erin, a girl from another class, jogging up to me with a friendly smile. She was a little taller than me, with curly blonde hair and a headband that sparkled in the sun. "Hey," she said casually. "Do you want to come play with me and my friends?" I blinked, I wasn't sure what to say. Erin had always been nice, but we had never been friends. And after what happened earlier, I couldn't help but wonder, was this a trap? Did she just want to get me alone so she and her friends could make fun of me? I hesitated, my stomach twisting. I don't know. Erin must have noticed my uncertainty because she rolled her eyes and smiled. "Relax, we're not gonna, gang up on you or anything." She grabbed my wrist and gently tugged me forward. "Come on, it's just Brittany and Elizabeth." I froze mid-step. Brittany and Elizabeth? I knew them. They were two of the nicest girls in our grade. I had talked to them plenty of times, as Samuel. But now, they were going to meet Samantha. I swallowed hard, my heart pounding as Erin led me over. Brittany and Elizabeth were standing by the swings, chatting and laughing. When they saw us approach, they both smiled. "Hey, Samantha!" Brittany said brightly, as if this was the most normal thing in the world. Elizabeth grinned and waved. "Come sit with us." I hesitated for only a second longer, then slowly sat down in the grass next to them. Maybe this wasn't a trap. Maybe I had just made some new friends. At first, I was hesitant, unsure of how this would go. But as we sat together, talking and laughing, something amazing happened. I wasn't being judged. I wasn't being stared at. I wasn't being whispered about. To Brittany, Elizabeth, and Erin, I wasn't some boy pretending to be a girl. I was just Samantha. Playing together. We spent the rest of recess playing in the grass, giggling as we made up silly stories, taking turns on the swings, and even playing a short game of tag. It was so normal. No one questioned why I was there. No one asked if I was really a girl. They just accepted me. At one point, Elizabeth turned to me with a big smile. "You should sit with us at lunch," she said. "We always have space." I blinked, taken off guard. Sitting with them? Being part of their friend group? I glanced toward the other side of the playground, where Jake usually sat with the boys. Then I looked back at Brittany, Elizabeth, and Erin. They weren't laughing at me. They weren't treating me like I was different. They were treating me like one of them. A girl. I smiled and nodded. "I'd love to." For the first time since I started school as Samantha, I didn't feel alone. I belonged. As the recess bell rang, everyone started making their way back toward the school building. I walked alongside Brittany, Elizabeth, and Aaron, still feeling light and happy from playing with them. For the first time in days, I wasn't thinking about the whispers or the stares. I was just another girl walking back to class with her friends, but then, before I could step inside, a hand gently grabbed my wrist. I turned, my heart jumping, and found myself face to face with Jake. He looked nervous, like he had something he needed to say. "Samantha, wait," he muttered. "Can we talk?" I hesitated. Brittany and the others paused, looking at me questioningly. I nodded at them. "I'll catch up." They gave me a small wave before heading inside, leaving me alone with Jake. For a second, neither of us spoke. Then, Jake let out a deep sigh and rubbed the back of his neck. "Look," he started. I just wanted to say I'm sorry." I blinked, caught off guard. "For what?" "For being an idiot," he muttered. "For believing all that stuff my mom said about you. She made it sound like you were being forced into this. That your mom just wanted another daughter and made you do it." I stiffened. I had heard those rumors too. Jake sighed again. "But that's not true, is it?" I shook my head. "No. It's not." Jake exhaled. "Yeah. I figured. And I feel dumb for believing it." I studied him for a moment. He looked genuine. This was the same Jake who had stood up for me against Derek. The same Jake who had gotten suspended because he defended me. Maybe he had made mistakes. But right now, I could see it in his face, he wanted to fix them. Jake scratched his head awkwardly. "I get that things are different now, but..." He hesitated. "Can we still be friends?" I stared at him. A few days ago, I had thought our friendship was over. But now? Now, he was asking to be part of my life again. I smiled softly. "Yeah, I'd like that." Jake let out a relieved laugh. "Good. 'Cause, I kinda miss having someone to play video games with." I giggled, feeling a warmth spread in my chest. "Me too." As we walked back into the school together, I realized something. I had lost some friends by becoming Samantha. But the ones who truly cared about me? They were still here. After school, I walked home, feeling lighter than I had in days. For the first time since becoming Samantha full-time, things felt normal. I had friends now, real friends who saw me as a girl. And Jake? He was back in my life. When I got home, I went straight up to my room, slipping off my school blazer and loosening the buttons on my blouse. Then, I pulled off my skirt and tights, neatly folding them before putting them in my laundry basket. I walked over to my dresser, opened the drawer, and grabbed a pair of jeans. Not boys' jeans. Not baggy, stiff, or plain. But a pair of girls' jeans, slimmer, softer, hugging my legs in a way that felt different, but right. I pulled them on and paired them with a fitted t-shirt before glancing at myself in the mirror. This wasn't a skirt or a dress. But it was still me. Still Samantha. And for the first time, I realized I could be comfortable and casual and still be a girl. I smiled at my reflection. Being Samantha didn't mean I had to dress up every day. It just meant being myself. A little while later, Shelby burst through the front door, dropping her school bag by the stairs. I was lounging on my bed, scrolling through my phone, still getting used to the feeling of wearing jeans instead of a skirt. Shelby came up the stairs, and I heard her rummaging through her drawers. Moments later, she stepped into my room wearing her ballet leotard and tights, pulling her hair into a neat bun. She spun around playfully. "I'm heading to the studio for practice." I smiled. "Figures." Shelby paused, tilting her head at me. "Hey, since you're a girl now, are you gonna join next year's beginner ballet class?" I froze. "Wait. What?" Shelby grinned. "You've already practiced with me a few times. And you looked really cute in a leotard. You should totally sign up. I opened my mouth to argue, but then I hesitated. A few weeks ago, the idea of doing ballet seriously would have made me laugh. But I had actually liked it. Dancing with Shelby, moving in ways I never had before, it had felt graceful, exciting, freeing. I chewed my lip. I don't know. I mean, I'd be with a bunch of little kids, right? Shelby shrugged. Yeah, at first. But you'd learn fast. If you work hard, you could probably move up quickly. I glanced at myself in the mirror, still adjusting to the way my jeans hugged my legs differently than boys' pants. If I could get used to this, maybe I could get used to ballet too. I sighed, shaking my head with a small smile. I'll think about it. Shelby grinned. That's not a no. She grabbed her ballet bag and twirled toward the door. I better go before I'm late. See you later, sis. She giggled and ran downstairs, leaving me sitting there, lost in thought. Ballet, huh? Maybe that wouldn't be so bad. A little while after Shelby left for her ballet practice, I heard the front door open. Mom was home. I made my way downstairs and found her in the kitchen, setting down a few grocery bags before heading to the stove. Hey, sweetheart, she said with a warm smile. How was school today? I shrugged, leaning against the counter. Better than yesterday. She raised an eyebrow but didn't push for details. That's good to hear. I'm making dinner, wanna help? I nodded without thinking. Yeah. She handed me a cutting board and some vegetables to chop, and for a while, we just worked in comfortable silence. The sound of sizzling food filled the air, mixing with the rhythmic chop, chop, chop of my knife on the cutting board. It felt peaceful. And then, out of nowhere, I felt a tightness in my chest. I stared at the vegetables in front of me, my hands slowing as a deep feeling swelled up inside me. I set the knife down and took a shaky breath. Mom? She turned to me, wiping her hands on a towel. I hesitated, my fingers curling against the counter. Then, before I could overthink it, I whispered, "Thank you." Mom's face softened. For what, sweetheart? I swallowed hard. For letting me be a girl. For not fighting me on it. For supporting me, even when everyone else thought it was weird. Her eyes glistened, and she set the towel down before stepping closer. She gently brushed a strand of hair from my face, her fingers warm and careful. Samantha, she said softly, I didn't let you be a girl. I blinked, confused. You didn't? She smiled, shaking her head. No, sweetheart. You already were one. I just made sure you had the chance to see it for yourself. I felt my throat tighten, emotion swelling in my chest. I had spent so long wondering if I was making a mistake. If I was just pretending. But hearing her say that she had always seen me as Samantha, even before I did? I felt my eyes sting with tears. I threw my arms around her, hugging her tightly. She held me close, stroking my back. I love you, sweetheart! No matter what! I buried my face in her shoulder, whispering, I love you too, Mom! For the first time in a long time, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't doubting myself. I wasn't pretending. I was Samantha. After our emotional moment, Mom and I finished cooking dinner together. For the first time since all of this began, I felt truly at peace. By the time the food was ready, I heard the front door open. Shelby was home. Shelby comes home. I'm back! Shelby's voice rang through the house, followed by the sound of her dance bag hitting the floor. A second later, she appeared in the kitchen doorway, still wearing her ballet leotard, her face flushed from practice. She took a deep breath and let out an exaggerated sigh. Ugh, I am exhausted. You have no idea how much we had to stretch today. I smirked. Maybe if you stretched more at home, it wouldn't be so bad. Shelby stuck her tongue out at me before turning her attention to the food on the stove. Oh! What's for dinner? Mom smiled. Spaghetti and garlic bread. Shelby grinned. Yes! The best! She walked over to grab a plate, then paused as she looked at me. Her eyes narrowed playfully. Wait a second! I raised an eyebrow. What? Her grin widened. Did you help cook? I crossed my arms. So what if I did? Shelby gasped dramatically, placing a hand over her heart. Oh my gosh! My sister is officially turning into a proper girl now. Next thing I know, you'll be painting your nails with me. I rolled my eyes, but I couldn't stop the small smile that crept onto my face. Shelby just giggled and grabbed her food before plopping down at the dinner table. As I sat beside her, twirling spaghetti onto my fork, I realized something. For the first time in days, I wasn't worrying about school. I wasn't thinking about the whispers. I wasn't scared of what people thought. I was just home. With my family. With my sister. And for the first time since becoming Samantha full-time, I felt like everything was exactly how it was meant to be. After dinner, Shelby and I helped Mom clean up, chatting about her ballet class and how much she wanted me to join next year. I still wasn't sure, but after everything that had happened today, I didn't say no. Once the kitchen was spotless, I went upstairs to my room, already feeling tired. Getting ready for bed. I pulled off my jeans and t-shirt, slipping into my softest nightgown, a light purple one with lace along the neckline. It felt warm and familiar as it brushed against my legs. I stood in front of my mirror, running my fingers through my bangs, still getting used to my new look. I looked different now. But I didn't feel like a stranger. I felt like me. I turned off the lights and climbed into bed, pulling the blankets up around me. As I lay there, staring at the ceiling, my mind drifted back to the past week. Everything had changed so quickly. I had gone from being Samuel, unsure and nervous, to Samantha, a girl with a new life. There had been challenges. People who didn't accept me. Whispers, rumors, cruelty. But there had also been love. Mom. Shelby. Mr. Caldwell. Jake. Brittany. Elizabeth. Aaron. People who saw me for who I really was. And because of them, I wasn't afraid anymore. I closed my eyes, smiling softly. For the first time since this all started, I didn't have to convince myself I was Samantha. I just was. And with that comforting thought, I slowly drifted into sleep.